Hello, everyone. Welcome to Agoric's 11th community call. It's August. Can't believe we're already at community call 11. Appreciate all of you coming to each one, asking questions, and sticking with us as we build out and release a whole bunch of stuff. So, got a few things to talk about in this community call. So let's go through the list here. The first and biggest one is Mainnet Phase 0. So we'll give you a little bit of a sense of what's coming along the pike there and what you can expect. We'll talk through the incentivized testnet as always, and we'll go through bounties, give you a sense of what's currently in process, what's coming along. I'm here to answer questions as well for anyone that has questions on bounties or things that they'd like to see. Talk about a little bit of things that are happening in the community in general. And then, as always, talk through the open positions at Agoric. So we've got a whole bunch going on across a whole bunch of different areas this month. So excited to really get into it. All right, so huge deal. Mainnet Phase 0 is launching this month. And if you go back, I think it's now 2 community calls ago, we spent some time talking about the different mainnet phases. As a reminder, Mainnet Phase 0 is the Cosmos layer of the chain. So really this is the build token itself, the ability to stake it, to use it for governance. Those capabilities will be launching along with Mainnet Phase 0. And this is the first distribution of build tokens to Agoric stakeholders, investors, validators as well. So if you have been a validator in the incentivized testnet, keep on the lookout for communications around this. We are going to be distributing tokens based on the points that have been assigned up until this point. So as I mentioned, there is another testnet phase that's coming up, and we'll have a little bit more detail on that later on here. But those points won't be included, so that will happen later. But based on points that have been earned so far, build tokens will be distributed. And the purpose of that is validators need to have tokens to be able to self-stake, to be able to validate in the mainnet network. And that's what we want to make sure that you guys get. So again, I think, we had the incentivized testnet continuing to go on. We have the mainnet Phase 0 launching, and those are going to happen at very similar times. So it's going to be mid-August that those things are happening. We know there may be some challenges with overlap with validators. So we want to make sure that as we're communicating this, if you have questions, please do come to us in Discord, come to us in Telegram, and we can make sure to get everybody sorted. But all this is happening this month, so we're very excited about that. The other thing to know that if you are part of one of those groups, so investor, stakeholder of some kind, and likely to be receiving a build token distribution, there will be details on how to manage that. And we've been working with Kepler, so we will have an integration there so that you can manage your build tokens in the Kepler wallet. So again, the key features in Mainnet Phase 0 are going to be staking and governance. Staking rewards will not be turned on at the initial phase of the Phase 0. That will have to be a governance vote later on if the community wishes to turn those on. Okay, great. I'll pause there for a minute in case there are questions. I see a little bit of activity in YouTube here. And if not, I can move on. All right, cool. Again, if you're watching this later on, please engage with us in Discord. We know there will be questions as communications start coming out around legal things that have to get done in order to get your distribution. So stay on the lookout for that. So testnet Phase 4. So we talked about it a little bit in the last community call. So I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but we do have the results for the actual tasks that were completed. So it took us a little bit of time to judge all that. Network tasks, we got to almost 86% completion rate, which is great. We had 94 community tasks get done. The community tasks are things like Twitter, social media related stuff. We had 5 submissions for challenge tasks, which is really great to see. The challenge tasks have gotten harder over the course of the testnet. We're asking for more and more developer related skills and things as we go. So you'll actually see in the next phase, we've got some pretty interesting challenge tasks coming down the line, but love to see those coming in. Again, for those of you that are able to put the time in for those challenge tasks, those end up being a large point total. So it's a great way to boost your returns on the incentivized testnet here. And then I also wanted to go, again, sort of thank and recognize everyone that managed through the change in the tasks through the phase. So we know that it was the stress test, and we had a lot of stress in various ways, and we talked about that last month. But for those of you that rolled with us, which was pretty much everybody, we really appreciate that. The slog files in particular, that was a task that we added mid-phase as we realized that there was data that we could collect that would be useful to us, and it has been extremely useful. So we spent a bunch of time over the last month analyzing performance from the different slog files, understanding how validators with different systems operating at different speeds were able to see different results. And so putting that together has really helped us through not only understanding what happened in this last phase, but starting to plan for the metering phase. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but there's a lot of analysis that we need to do to understand contract metering, and in part, these slog files have been a huge input to that. So thank you again to everybody that did send those in, and I know it was a lot of you. All right, so let's move on to Testnet 4.5. So this is the metering phase. We can officially announce the date for that. That is going to be August 18th, which is in 2 weeks. And it's going to be focused on, we keep saying metering. I think for those of you that are familiar with other chains and the crypto industry generally, you can think of it in part as Agoric's gas model, right? There is execution that must be paid for in the system, especially at the JavaScript level, and contract metering is how we put a price on that and how we manage that to ensure that there isn't spam, and that users do have to pay for transactions, but that it's not a barrier. So that is really the focus of Testnet phase 4.5, is this first version of contract metering. So again, it is a first version. It's a proof of concept. We're building off a lot of work that has been done by the team, particularly Dean, Mark Miller, frankly, most of the team over the past several decades around different algorithms for how we might approach this kind of thing, how distributed systems might pay for execution. But this is the first version to make sure that it works from an end-to-end standpoint. So all the way from the user side to the contract that's actually paying for their own execution and that working in the kernel. There will be some areas that aren't fully covered. So for example, if you look deeply at the proof of concept that we're coming out with, you'll see that there are going to be ways to spam the system. And we know that. That's something that we're holding off on until there's a more adversarial phase coming up. And so we're really just excited to make sure that we can see this end-to-end flow. And even as a user, that you can see it as you are putting a trade in the AMM, for example, you'll understand how much you're paying for that trade. The one other change that we're going to make, and this is in part based on feedback that we've gotten from all of you, the validators that are part of the incentivized testnet, is that we want to display the tasks ahead of time. So around a week, our goal is a week before the start of the phase. So that would be August 11th. We will put out what we expect to have as the tasks for the phase. And that will be for a couple reasons. One, we want to make sure that the wording of the tasks actually makes sense and that there isn't confusion. We know that that's been a challenge in the past, where we put something out that we thought made sense, but then it turned out that as you guys were reading it, it was ambiguous, or there were vague elements or something along those lines. So we'll make sure to take in your feedback and make those things clear. But then in general, we're also interested in higher level feedback around those tasks, ideas on what else we might be able to ask for, things like that. And we want to be able to give you guys an opportunity to get started earlier on the challenge tasks. So I mentioned before that the challenge tasks have gotten harder. We know it's a lot of effort, and spinning up, not only sort of building the thing itself, but spending the time thinking about what your idea might be, that takes a little bit of time in the background. So we hope that by giving you a taste of it earlier, you'll be able to sort of think about what you might want to do and plan out your time accordingly. So we appreciated that feedback as part of our survey. We want to make sure that we're being responsive there. And hold on, I see a couple questions in YouTube. So let's see. Okay, looks like Dean is handling it. King Super asks, just curious, why no staking rewards initially in Mainnet? And Dean's response is right, as you would expect. There are it that's sort of a standard thing in the initial deployment of a chain, but then we want to make sure that the chain is sufficiently decentralized so that it's the community determining what the reward should be, or rather turning on the rewards or not. So it'll be a governance proposal that will be accepted or rejected by the community. It's not up to Agoric to determine that. All right. So any questions there on Testnet 4.5? I imagine this is going to be a topic a lot of people are interested in. So I might wait a few seconds here and see if a couple of questions come in. All right. A couple of people introducing themselves, but no questions yet. Again, throw those in the YouTube comment section, and either Dean or someone else can handle them, or I'll mention them live. Okay, so the bounty program has been rolling along. So we've talked about this for the last couple months. This is our way of not only bringing more developers into the community to get them to start building on Agoric, but also making sure that we are building out elements of the economy that are going to be critical soon after our launch. So let me run through the actual bounties here. I'll talk through what we've got, and then I'll talk a little bit more generally about the bounty program and what we're looking to do. So to start with, we've got 3 in active development. So that means applicants have come in for the bounties on Gitcoin. We've approved them, and actually 2 of those are one is nearing completion, one is sort of halfway, and the other is just getting started. But we've been really pleased with the interest that you guys have put into and work that you've put into the bounties. So as a reminder, Gitcoin has different types of bounties that teams can sign up for, and the way we have approached these particular ones, which may not be what we do for all bounties, but the way we've approached these so far is it's only been 1 developer per bounty, which means that a bunch of people may apply. There is some process, and as you go through that process, we have to pick 1 person, and we can only approve 1 person at a time. And we do that in part because we know that what we've put out so far have been relatively large bounties, and we don't want to be in a position where 3 groups have independently put in a whole bunch of work and then we can only accept 1. As we move forward, there may be bounties that are more appropriate for that. So we'll be sure to mention that as we announce new bounties coming out. But for those of you that have expressed interest in bounties and not been accepted for that particular bounty, I would encourage you, definitely reach out to me on Discord if you haven't already, and we can start chatting. I've initiated that with a few of you already, but if I've missed you, or if you felt like you had a good application and you didn't get picked and you want to chat, please reach out to me or Santi or anyone else in Discord, and we'll get started talking. But I think the most important thing is we have a big list of bounties that haven't been posted yet, and these are ideas for things that we want to start building out or have someone start building out. And it may be that you're interested in building something that's already on our list or very close to something that's on our list. And if that's the case, it's very easy to accelerate that particular thing if we know that we have someone ready to work on it that's interested in a talented developer. So please do reach out. We can definitely adjust things, and we can talk to you about what it is you might be interested in building. That said, where we are looking to expand our bounties coming up are on cross-chain. To start with, we have a few categories. To start with, cross-chain components. So far, the bounties have been structured around stuff that's either infrastructure for Agoric, like the Chainlink Oracle contract, or components that will primarily live in the Agoric ecosystem, like the loan protocol. However, as Cosmos and IBC start to have more and more interesting applications gaining traction, we're interested in seeing how Agoric smart contracts can layer on top of that and improve it. So as an example, if you are a liquidity provider in Osmosis, maybe you could bring your LP token over to Agoric and get some additional capabilities. So an idea I have is blending the lockup periods so that you could have liquidity and do a little better than the 1-day lockup. Or if you are looking to spin up an instance in Akash, maybe that can be done through an Agoric smart contract. So those sorts of things are going to be coming along. We're really interested to see what interesting IBC enabled capabilities we can have and how we can enhance projects in the Cosmos ecosystem via their connection to Agoric over IBC. So really excited to see that. And I think that that's going to be a focus of upcoming bounties. Obviously, we have more DeFi components that are going to be coming along. So for example, synthetic asset protocol, that hasn't been built yet. If you've got ideas there, we'd love to talk to you. And then some front end work on our side. So for those of you that have played with our beta treasury, you know that the front ends are very much in draft form there. And to start with, we'll likely post a bounty for a new front end for our AMM. So for those of you that have played with AMMs in the crypto space in general, you know that the front ends there can be kind of interesting and exciting. So if you're interested in putting your own flair into what our AMM might look like, I would definitely suggest you reach out around that bounty. And yeah, so as I mentioned at the bottom there, make suggestions in the builders channel. The one thing I do want to highlight here again is we have one open bounty that's posted and doesn't currently have somebody working on it. So this is a smart liquidation module for the Agoric treasury. And to give a little color there, for those of you that are not as familiar with the treasury is a vault system and an AMM itself. And the vault system is how you bring collateral in, you mint run against it, and as your collateral value fluctuates, the vault may need to liquidate your collateral if your loan to value ratio goes out of kilter. So right now, that liquidation mechanism in the treasury just dumps the collateral onto the AMM and sells it instantly. We know that that is not an ideal mechanism for liquidating collateral. And this bounty is a way to be a little bit smarter with how we do that. So maybe the liquidation mechanism needs to understand what's happening in the market. Has the price on our AMM diverged from an Oracle price? What is the depth of the AMM that we're liquidating on? So, maybe we limit it to adjust for slippage, that sort of thing. So a lot of details in the bounty itself. If that's something you're interested in, it would become a core component in the Agoric treasury, and we would swap it out for our existing mechanism. Please do reach out, and would love to see ideas there. All right, let's keep moving on. So we've had we've been in part with Mainnet Phase 0 coming up and the overall Mainnet rollout, we have ramped up our coverage in different media. So, and this is largely Dean in particular. So for those of you that love hearing Dean talk, please check out some of his recent podcasts. I've listened to nearly all of them, and they're all great. And especially for those of you newer in the community who haven't heard him speak before, I would definitely recommend, checking out one or two of these, making sure you hear the vision, hear where we're going with this. I see him commenting here on YouTube, but yeah, Dean speaking is an experience. So please, if you can find one with video, find it on YouTube. But all of these have been really great. So this will continue. So the marketing group here, Santi in particular, and the team in general has really ramped up our media coverage. So we're going to get the Agoric word out as the Mainnet Phase 0 and for the rest of the phases. All right, so looking for a community advocate to lead the Russia channel. I mentioned this last month in the previous community call, but we have a bunch of international communities getting started. We love to see that. Really appreciative of those of you that have been either starting them yourselves or joining them. And as we ramp up, we expect this to continue. So lots of growth here, and this is really, really cool to see. And on a personal note, just seeing global communities spout up around what we're building, it has just been, it's different from what I'm used to, and it's really exciting. All right, so you can thank Santi for this GIF right here. So I'm gonna get a seizure if I don't change the slide. So we have merch coming. So you can see right now I'm wearing an Agoric shirt, which I think has been the only real merch available so far, and it's really just been for team and stakeholders. But we have a store coming online, so if you want to display your Agoric pride, hopefully via t-shirt versus socks. But either way, if you want to wear some Agoric merch, please, we'll announce that, and feel free to come give us ideas and things like that. Dean says he wants the socks. And so just to look through the products we've actually got: t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, cups, and socks. So we haven't exactly NFTized the socks yet, but maybe something like that will come down the line. All right, do we have Agoric Pants? That's a great question, and that's probably something for Santi. So I don't know. I have not seen pictures of Agoric Pants yet, but maybe with Agoric down the side or something like that, or breakaway pants like basketball players wear, that sort of thing. All good ideas. So another event coming up, this is the NFT experience event, and this will be me speaking actually on a panel with a bunch of other NFT related people from the industry. So I looked at the co-panel members, and it looks like it's going to be a really interesting talk. So really excited for that. And I think, as I sort of mentioned, this is part of Agoric being more broadly recognized in the crypto community, starting to spread our wings a little bit and be more vocal about what we're doing as we get closer to mainnet. So really excited to speak there. We've got a lot of interesting stuff to say about NFTs. I've personally done a very deep dive over the last couple of weeks looking at a bunch of NFT projects, and really excited to see what Agoric is going to be able to contribute to that, because I think we have a very interesting model for that. All right. So coming up on the end here, we are still hiring. So we've had these roles out for a little while. Some of them we have candidates in the pipeline. It's been actually a great hiring experience so far, but we don't have accepted offers for these roles. So please do, if any of these roles apply to you, please reach out. We're excited to talk to people, especially people in the community who have been following us, familiar with what we're doing. And I would say that in general, one of the best ways if you're interested in working with us, either now or in the future, really being part of the community is the right way to do that. So you could, for example, get started working on a bounty, be active in Discord, start digging into what we've done. And then as these roles come along and we're still looking for people, or if we have new roles, this will be the best way to be known. So really encourage people to start out that way as well, but reach out if you're interested in any of these roles in particular. All right, so I'm going to leave a few seconds for questions here. I see that there's been a bunch of questions in the YouTube chat that Dean has been answering. Let's see. Do we intend to release the dev rewards through Gitcoin? Just to make sure I'm understanding, so pass info on my org. So Pan, is that a question about specifically the bounties themselves and payment for the bounties? Okay, well, I'll wait for a response on YouTube, but if so, the answer is in the bounties themselves, we have some details on how payment would happen. Because of how Gitcoin operates, we have to say PayPal in the when we actually post the bounty, but it isn't actually PayPal. It's via, I think the right word is a wire transfer, but I'm not 100% sure. The exact wording is in the bounty itself. And then and that is in USD. It is not in build tokens right now for the bounties. Okay, and Pan, did that answer your question? Let me know. Okay, well, I will take that as a yes, but if you have other questions, reach out. Dev work were awarded at Mainnet 0 in the form of build. I think we're still working out the details there. I think we have there are legal things that we have to make sure that we follow to be able to award in build. Right now, it is a reward in USD. At some point in the future, rewards can be paid out in build. The exact moment where we can do that is I'm not totally sure yet. I know that Vanessa on our team likely knows the answer. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get one here. Okay, so we'll get an answer there on exactly when that might happen, and it may be some time as we work out the legal implications of paying out and build. I guess what I would make sure that the way I would think about it is, for now, the payment is in USD. And in the future, it will be in build, but that is not possible right now. Okay, well, with that, it looks like no other questions have come in. Oh, King Super, when are we announcing phase 4 results? So, and by results, are you talking about specifically points? I think likely yes. We have the tasks mostly judged, so I think we should be in a spot to announce those quite soon. So we'll circle back, and that will need to happen prior to the phase 0 going live. So that's a big emphasis on our end. So I think, don't quote me on this, I think we have the numbers all done already, and so we can likely announce that soon. Either way, it's a blocker for phase 0, so it has to happen very quickly. Okay, well, thanks very much. Appreciate all the questions, and as always, I'm Roland. Reach out to me on Discord if you have any questions on any of this, especially if you are interested in talking about bounties. And we will see you either next month or hopefully before. Thanks.